Welcome to Military Spouse World 1-to-1, a weekday podcast featuring a military family shaker and mover, helping you navigate this amazing chapter in life. Here's your host, Dave Etter.
On today's edition of Spouse World 1-to-1, we meet MJ Boice, a well-known author in the MilSpouse universe. She talks about writing for a living, how she got started, and the origin of her personal trademark, Word. Hello, MJ. It's a long time no hear. How you been?
Oh, I've been crazy busy, but you know, 'tis the life.
It is. You are a busy woman to begin with, a shaker and mover in the spouse world, because you write about everything we want to hear about.
I do. I write about military life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the really ugly. And I really enjoy doing that because I have the ability to take, say, a complex subject like the suck that is known as TRICARE, and I can break it down for everybody to be able to understand so that they're well informed. But then I can also take something similar to Murphy's Law or coping skills or different things like that and make it relevant.
Yes.
My background is in social psychology,
okay.
But like many military spouses, I've kind of had to adapt and overcome my career and make it fit into our lifestyle. So I decided to use that to the military life's advantage. But nobody wants to hear me drop some science.
I do. I love hearing you drop the science.
Okay, if I were to drop some science about how the limbic system affects our impulses and our emotions, nobody cares. But I can tell.
You can Barney style that, and it's still the science.
That's exactly what I do. I just take out the Sheldon Cooper out of it.
You take the Sheldon Cooper and you make it, Dave Etter.
I do, and I love doing that. Because Dave Etter is very entertaining.
Well, Dave Etter also has an IQ, and he already knows what Sheldon Cooper's saying almost before Sheldon Cooper says it, but that's okay. I prefer talking Barney style.
Word.
It just works out so much better.
It does.
One of the best things that I think I ever found out about you was that a fellow male spouse friend of mine wrote something that has created a lot of waves over the years, but you were the one that edited it by taking out the things that were installation specific, toned down names and things like that, so that it actually turned out to be generic enough, but pointed enough that he even still catches flack from it. I love it.
Yes, that is one of the challenges sometimes when you face a problem in our military community because it's so small. 1.1 million military spouses out there, the scuttlebutt still has a very, very quick path. So sometimes you're going to figure out the who, what, when, where, and why of a story. That male spouse who has something fantastic to say, who's part of a niche that is wholly underrepresented,
yes,
but not for long, thanks to people like you.
Yes! Word.
Word. Yes, that is my tagline. If you're wondering what word means, it's the universal word for everything. It's affirmative, it's negative, it's, hey, I'm not committing to an answer, so word.
It's very similar to the Hawaiian term aloha.
Yes. Aloha and Dakine in Hawaii. Dakine is a place, a person, a thing, a pronoun, a noun, all of it.
Yep, everything.
Yeah. So he was talking about this issue, and I said, you know what? I want you to leverage that voice. Come write for Military Spouse magazine. I've been with Military Spouse on the digital side for about 2.5, almost 3 years now. And it's fantastic. I love it. It's a side hustle for me, though. I'm a contractor.
And Sean's article was
about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And I met him on your show.
That was back when he still called it to Male Military Spouse Radio Show.
I wonder if it's because of the PCS.
I don't know. I kind of think so. And Sean now also, he is a guest writer, a regular guest writer on Military Spouse magazine. So he was able to parlay that.
Male spouse perspective.
Yes, he does a fantastic job. It's his niche. I cannot write, so that will never be my niche. My niche is this, audio.
You know what? I'm going to challenge you on that one, Dave.
Nope, you are not.
Here's why. Here's why, because I want your listeners who are audio peeps, okay, who feel like they can't write, I want them to know that they can, because everybody's voice is different. If you read anything that I have written, whether it's for Military Spouse Magazine or for the National Military Family Association, where I'm a staff writer full-time, or Spouse Book, if you read anything that I've ever written, you will hear my voice in your ears, because I write like I speak.
Exactly, but that's the cool part is without shows like this, or Male Military Spouse Radio Show, or Aaron Whitehead's Braless Podcast, nobody would ever hear you unless they met you in person. Now, you have an opportunity for people to, when they pick up an MJ Boice article, by remembering this interview, they can go, oh, I hear her so clearly.
Word. Well, I guess it's one of those, is it the chicken or the egg thing? Because it's very funny you say that. I've started speaking at MilSpouse Fest through Military One Click. We've partnered NMFA, the National Military Family Association, because we need more acronyms.
Word.
Word. We've partnered with them to do our More Than a Spouse segment, and I'll be up there and I'll be speaking about Advocacy 101, and I've had several people actually approach me after each event saying, I've read your stuff. I thought the way you were talking sounded familiar, and I realized I just read one of your articles the other day, and I was like,
Exactly. And as far as writing goes, I do have a couple of books that I'll be in here coming out probably this summer. You'll see my face. Everybody knows what I look like. I do not have a face that is good for anything. It is a face for radio, so you understand why I stick strictly with audio.
You're so funny. You give the best big bear hugs ever.
I also like hugs. How long have you been writing? Have you done this ever since you were a little kid?
I have. I actually learned to write the fundamentals when I was 4. My dad actually taught me. He has a background in communications. He was a DJ on the radio, so whether it's speaking or writing, that was his gig, and he kind of passed that down to me, and he told me, putting your emotions on paper basically makes you be a nice person. Now, that's how he reasoned with a 4-year-old, but I got upset one day with him, and I wrote my first sentence when I was 4. I said, I will go to New York, because I was going to go live with my aunt because he made me mad, without skipping a beat, and he did it every time growing up, even all the way up to my college years. He grabbed a red pen. He took to that. I'm not even kidding you. He put it on that paper because I didn't capitalize New York, and I spelled York, Y-U-R-K. And he said, try it again. And so I did. He's like, oh, now I get what you're saying. You're upset with me, so you want to go to New York to live with Aunt Sue. Okay. All right. And it was pretty much from then on, I just would put, it's more of emotions to paper.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm imagining now, because I am not a writer, I do not know what it's like to go through an editor and have things come back to me. Although I take that back. With the books that I'm in, I've had to deal with that. My submissions have keep coming back and make this clearer. This doesn't make sense. This is past tense while you're writing present tense over here. Change that. I recognize that was necessary because I do not write like I speak. When your dad was doing that to you, he actually taught you at a very early age to be used to having editorial rewrites.
Yes, constructive criticism is very, very important, and sometimes it's hard to separate that if you're very attached to whatever you wrote and you feel like that message is going to be changed in some way or completely lost in translation, you're going to get upset about it. But there's a difference. He not only taught me to accept constructive criticism, but he also taught me how to give constructive criticism without that message that the writer was intending to put out there to their readers. I'm very careful when I edit anybody's content because I do not want to mess with the integrity of their message. That's the whole reason they wrote.
Gotcha. I mean, that's kind of what I do when I'm editing the audio of these podcasts. I'm taking out all of the uhs and the breaks and the breaths, because people do have habits that they will fall into. Some people will go, and so I take that out, take the breath, the and the out, and it now sounds like a professional sentence all the way through, which I'm sure was going through their head when they said it.
Well, the American culture, they don't like silence. They cannot stand a pregnant pause. It makes them uncomfortable. They need to fill it. So it's yes, no, that's natural.
Yeah, and pregnancy, everybody knows, just produces more, and that's what you don't want. Too much silence, and you have William Shatner.
Editing is the birth control of audio.
It's so true. What do you have coming up here in the near future? I see you've been covering a lot of events, a lot of MilSpouse type events.
Oh, wow. The events that I have just recently done, like the Capitol concerts in D.C., where I got to meet Morpheus.
You're kidding.
I got to meet Lawrence Fishburne, and he did a video with me as a shout out to military families.
Oh, I did see that. That was neat.
Coolest thing ever. I came home and told my 15-year-old I met Morpheus, and I was like, boom, mic drop.
Mic drop, boom.
Boom. Yeah. July is a big month. July is a very, very busy month with some local events. I am now a huge part of that partnership with the MilSpouse Fest. We have one coming up in September at Fort Campbell.
Right.
And I will be there. And then there's going to be another one here at Quantico, which is very nice because I only have to go 3 miles down the road. That is fantastic. I get to avoid DC traffic. Do you know what that means? That's insane. One of the things that I kind of just really quick wanted to touch on, if we have a second.
We do.
When I first started writing, actually getting published, it was in 2013. A woman named J.C. Eckhart, who was the editor of Spouse Buzz on military.com.
Yes.
I interviewed her for a book review on Skype. She invited me to write for them, and she gave me that shot. And that is what launched where I am today. We need to really lift each other up. So whenever I hear of an individual, any military spouse, and sometimes anybody at all, who wants to say something. They have something to say, but they don't know what that outlet is. They don't know how to get it out there. If they don't speak to you, or if they feel like they spoke to you and they still have more to say, well, guess what? Write to me.
Exactly.
I want you to get your message out there. Your story needs to be heard.
Yes.
If this is the first time you're listening to this, I hope this show is like crack, because let me tell you, he has so much going on between this and Spouse Spout and Master Spouse, all of it. I'm
also heavy into the American Legion and heavy into Boy Scouts, so I'm like you, busy.
I love it.
And all of it's volunteer.
And the compensation in this form will be hugs.
Yeah. How do we get in touch with you if anybody wants to find out more about writing as a living within the spouse world that we live in?
There are several avenues you can take, but because I'm a Facebook junkie, woo.
There you go.
I could be an ad for Facebook. Because I'm a Facebook junkie.
Eat that, Mark Zuckerberg.
That's what's up. I want my royalties.
There you go.
You can reach me on Facebook. You just need to go in the search bar and look up MJ Boice. Boice.
That brings you right up. It does. I know that because I use that all the time to find out where you're at.
Oh, yes. If you reach out to me on Facebook, I regularly check my others folder if we're not friends. You can send me a message and we can become friends because I like friends.
Well, that works. So we'll do that, and that way people can get a hold of you.
That would be fantastic.
All right.
I look forward to that.
Word.
Hey,
MJ, thanks for coming on Spouse World 1-to-1 with me. It has been a pleasure.
Thanks. Word, Dave.
Word. We'll see you.
Bye.
Do you like Spouse World 1-to-1? Want to support the efforts to bring interesting and inspiring military spouses into the spotlight? Then go to patreon.com/spouseworld and become a patron. It's a great way to spread the love.
Military Spouse World 1-to-1 is a BDE Productions podcast. The views and opinions of the host or any of the guests are not that of BDE Productions or sponsors. Be sure to like this episode and subscribe to Spouse World 1-to-1.